Alright, hey guys, I just want to show you some of the progress on the game. Just give you an idea of what I've been working on and where it currently is. My game is called Metalsona, and I think that's what it's going to be for now. I might change it later, but anyways, this is the program, Game Maker Studio 2, and this is where I make the game. And this is an idea of some of the scripting that I had to learn in order to get the game up and running. You basically use scripts and sprites of characters, stuff like that, and you put it all together and somehow it makes a game. I'll talk more about that later, but I'm going to run the game and show you what I have so far. So, selecting run. And it's building. Shouldn't take too long. So here is the starting screen of my game. From here it has a moving background, which is not done yet, but it's just to give an idea of how the final one will look. But from here I can choose new game, continue, extras, options, and exit the game. So if I went to like extras, right now it just says coming soon because this is just for a demo. So I'll go to new game and it should start with the opening cutscene, and we got a loading screen. But the opening cutscene's not full animation yet. It's an animatic, which is basically a sketch of an animation, just to give an idea. So right here you kind of see, two robots chasing each other and firing stuff at each other and fighting. But this will open up into the game. Now this part isn't done, but just to give an idea and how the animation should go. And it's going to cut off shortly, so right there. So rather than finish the animation, it just went straight to where the game actually starts. But I'll go ahead and finish that one up here soon. So right now you see an unfinished background and you see a random character, which is a floating unicorn with a horn on its butt. But here's the main character. His name's Render. When I move him around, he doesn't have his walk cycle completely done, but at least I can go ahead and move him around in 8 directions however I want. When he's further back here, he moves slower, he gets larger based on perspective, and he goes of the appropriate speed up here. Now I can go ahead and talk to this unicorn. I can go behind it, and I show up behind it, go in front, and I can go ahead and talk to it, and and so this is basically how the dialogue screens will look, where it'll have the character's portrait here, and it'll have a script of whatever I want here of what the character's going to say. And so I can go around and interact with characters. And of course this is just a placeholder background, but I also have an items menu screen where I can select items or change the gloves that he uses to fight with, and various other things like saving and loading the game. And when I press exit, it exits. There's a working pause menu. But from here, let's go ahead, I'll just show you a little bit more of the game. So I'll walk to the next screen. And of course, obviously the walk cycle is not animated yet. I have the running cycle where I can hold down a run button and go left and right and it'll run, which I have that one animated. But let's go ahead and continue onto the next screen. So these are still placeholder graphics, just to get an idea of how the game's going to be. In this area I actually do have random battles because this is a RPG like Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger, but I can run around and I'll run into a random monster. This one's called the Double Wolf. It's like a werewolf with 4 arms. But anyways, right here, this is the battle screen where you'll fight monsters. And I can navigate the menu down here. I can do my basic attack, and of course that's a placeholder animation, as you can see. The monster will attack back based on their activity meter. So basically, whenever this meter goes all the way, fills all the way up, then it's that person's turn. Right now it's my turn, so it's waiting for me. But obviously he doesn't have attack animation or anything. But just to show you, that was a normal attack. Then I have some other attacks here, which are kind of like special attacks. and you can see it's different animation that does more damage. If I do an attack that doesn't work against this monster, it'll miss like this, where it says miss and it does no damage, and he can still attack me. The other thing I have is a working item system where I can use like a potion. It says use, the info says a potion that heals 50 health. So I'll go ahead, I'll use that. He healed himself and his life points went back up. I can also do special attacks, but I'll show you those in a little bit. But for now, let's just go ahead and finish off this monster. And that's how most of the random battles will work. You'll have, here I'll describe some more. This one also is, there's random battles where it'll have either the double wolf or this unicorn thing that we call the nonicorn. There's just different kinds of monsters. But basically you have your normal attacks, which will do a normal amount of damage. And then you'll have these attacks up here, which is range, power, and swift. Think of rock, paper, scissors, where if you basically win the rock, paper, scissors, you'll do more damage. But if you do one that's not so well, it'll miss. So it's kind of like you have to know the monsters that you're fighting and whatnot. So this one, I think it's range is the one that works on it. Yeah, that one works on it. It did a whole bunch of damage to its life. But if I do like swift on it, obviously it does no damage. But that's kind of the fun with that, is like either if you know the monster, you can beat it quickly with range, power, and swift, or just use your normal attacks if you don't know, and you'll just do a normal amount of damage. So let's keep going and go to the next screen. That's another wolf. Let's go ahead. I know he's weak against power, so I'll go ahead and should just do 2 of those, and that should be it. So this screen's a little bit more done. There's supposed to be plants in this potter and all this kind of stuff, and there's going to be boats in the background. But of course everything's just kind of placeholder graphics right now. Actually, I can go ahead, let me go to my menu. I'll just use a potion just to make sure I'm at full health in case I get into another battle. But over here there's supposed to be a bartender, and when I go to talk to him, it'll go to a cutscene. Now this is one that's also in progress, of course, as you can see. But right here, his graphic is over here because I eventually updated them to look like this. So once I update his will fit in there just fine. But at least right here, they can talk, and this is the dialogue system, like I said. And I can move the dialogue boxes wherever I need to based on the cutscene that I'm doing. And then right here, I can also change scenes and have just regular messages display on screen. So this is them kind of seeing something on the news, talking about it, and they're talking again. And then, of course, something happens to this clock tower back there. And in the game, it'll kind of show that, you know, the robots from the very beginning were fighting and flying, and they came through here. And eventually, after another short cutscene, you would see the main character meet up with this red robot, and you know, they'll start a fight. But at least right here, I just wanted to test to see if I can make a fight happen right after a cutscene. So right here, you know, this guy, I made him weak against, I think I made him weak against range. So if I do range, it'll do a special attack. But if I actually go to specials right here, when this game, I have a bit more programming to do, but once the game is fully programmed, this bar will fill up as you take damage and deal damage. And, you know, it goes right here, the maximum's level 5. But in order to use any of these really special attacks, your bar has to be at least 1 or higher. But right here, I have it set to where I can just use it. So it'll bring down this drop-down menu where you can use all these like a super special attack, super special range, power, or swift. And right here, I only have range programmed, but just to give you an idea of the kind of attack that it does a whole bunch of damage, and it should just kill him right off the bat. But right here, I'll go to range, and you'll have different options as you go through the game. But here, I'll just use super range, use, and it goes to a full screen animation, that's another animatic, of course, and then it beats the robot. Now, after that, there's supposed to be another cutscene and continue with the story, but just for programming sake, I just had to go to the first screen of the game just to kind of, you know, just hold it there until I can, as a placeholder, until I can finish more. But that's basically the demo so far. And it doesn't seem like much, but in order to program all the systems, like a dialogue system, menu, a battle system to fight the monsters was one of the hardest to do. And then, of course, like the system to walk around and do stuff. So let me exit out of this real quick, and then I'll tell you more about the actual program itself.